Hello, hello. Hey, okay, I think the audio's here. Um, yeah, let me know in the audience if you guys can hear me now. But I think it's good now. I see the green bars going. So I'm going to try this one again. So question from Danielle. Can you create registration pages and confirmation pages? So I think what you're asking is, once someone registers for your page, is there like a registration, like a confirmation page that they can get to or something like that? In Crowdcast, it's a very different model. So as soon as you register, you're actually already in the event. And you can already start participating, asking questions, answering polls. So you actually, now in addition to that, we do send an email to the person who registered saying, hey, you've registered for this event. We'll see you in 3 days or so, whenever the event is. Here's a link to add it to your calendar, and here's a link to return to the event whenever you want to. And because the event is under one unique URL, it's pretty easy to find. So we tend to have a lot of people end up converting and showing up for the live event. So hopefully that answers your question, Danielle. And click on done answering. All right, so she's asking, are reminders sent and how often? Yeah, so by default, Crowdcast sends a reminder 10 minutes before the event starts. But there's actually a button. In fact, I'll just screen share and show you where that button is. Give me 1 second. Entire screen, cool. So you should see my screen now. Let's go here. Yeah, so there's a button you can press right here. This is email participants. And you're actually able to message your audience at any time before the event starts, during the event, or after the event. So whatever I type here, I can directly send to their inboxes. So some of you may have noticed that I sent an email using this in the event in about 24 hours. We're looking forward to seeing what questions you have. And so it was a good way to bring people back to the event and help them queue up some of these questions for today in case they weren't able to show up live. So I hope that answers your question, Malika. All right, so Judy asks, do you use Google Hangouts to stream your videos? As you can, including Google Hangouts, Ustream, Livestream, but we are optimized for Google Hangouts. So I'm actually sharing my Google Hangout screen now, and it's going to look crazy because you're sharing a screen share of the video that you're seeing. So it's kind of trippy, but basically this is the Google Hangouts window, and you'll see on the right side we have a Crowdcast widget that we've developed for Google Hangouts, so that you can actually do everything right from here. So you can click on Done Answering, you can click on Start Answering. You can actually invite users into the Hangout, which reminds me, if any one of you want to join me on screen and ask me a question face-to-face at the end of the presentation, at the end of the Crowdcast, just let me know in the chat, and I'll invite you on screen. Once we're done, we can just kind of hang out at that point and answer any other remaining questions then. From here, you have full access to the event, so you can see the analytics, you can see who's viewing, you can see who is in the chat, and you can respond. Oh, you are independent. Missed the answer, so okay. Yeah, so you can interact with people. This is actually where you can invite, ban, or even pull people's comments on screen, which we'll show soon. So hope that answers your question, Judy. Daniel also asked, can polls be done like this in advance where people can put in their questions and you can review them before the webinar to plan for them. Yes. So as you can see, these questions, these polls, I posted about a week ago. And that gave people time as they came in, as they registered for the event, they're able to start answering these polls. So now, even before the event starts, we already had context on the fact that the majority of the audience here have actually done webinars in the past. So seven votes versus 3 votes. It looks like WebEx, GoToWebinar, and JoinMe all were equally used, and there's some other options there that people have been using for their past webinar. Oh, I noticed that Jane said, so missed the answer, so no, you are independent. You cut audio. Was it no, you are independent live stream service from Google Hangouts? Gotcha. So Jane, right now, all the video streaming is done through third-party services. So you would, we would recommend you use Google Hangouts when you're doing a Crowdcast. So it actually works together. I can show you when I create a new event to show you what that looks like in just a second. But yes, to finish that question, yeah. So we already know, what sort of things people are interested in ahead of the event. In fact, we know that a lot of people here wants to do sales webinars and community building events, and some want to do office hours. And most of them are pretty unsatisfied with their current webinar software. So hope that, yeah, so that's done answering. Let me quickly answer Jane's question here. So when you create a new event, so I'm going to go ahead and go to a fresh account here, and I'm going to create a new event so you can see what that looks like. So you click on New Event, and you type in the title of your event, so my awesome event or webinar. Yeah, you can say it starts tomorrow at 12 p.m. and we'll make it public, meaning that it's shown on the profile page. We will require registration. We won't charge for this event. So I'm going to say create event, and at this point, you'll see the event is already ready and available with a customizable URL. So this is where you actually choose which video platform you choose. So right here, if you click this, it's going to open up that Hangout that I'm in right now. But you have, alternatively, you can also import in a YouTube Live URL, a live stream, Ustream, or any other platform that has an embed code. You can actually just paste it right here, and it'll show up just like any other event. So that's the way we built Crowdcast. So it's actually decoupled from your video streaming service, so that you as the host can choose which one makes the most sense for the event that you're doing. Cool. Yeah, so can you, I'm going to answer this question here. We have a question from Corinne. It looks like Renee also wants to know, can you integrate with autoresponders? So that is something that's coming really soon. We're doing integrations so that you're able to be alerted whenever someone registers for your Crowdcast event. So you can plug it into your MailChimp, or you can plug it into your CRM to automatically, in addition to the email that we send saying that they've registered, you can send a custom message saying, hey, we're looking forward to you joining our webinar tomorrow. Here's some extra details for you to get ready, etc. So we're releasing in being one of the first people to test that out. Let us know in the chat, because we are looking for some beta testers to test out our new integrations that's coming out pretty soon. Cool. To answer Philip's question, is it way easy? I'm gonna say, is there a way to integrate with a WordPress website? Yeah. So a lot of people, when they want to combine Crowdcast and WordPress, what they do is they click on the share button right here, and then you get this embed code. And you can actually paste this embed code right on your WordPress website, where you can drop it in right into the content editor. And to show you what that looks like, here's an example of a company that's embedded a Crowdcast event into their website. So you'll see Baremetrics, they're one of our users. Right on their baremetrics.com/webinar, you'll see they've actually embedded the full Crowdcast event. And right from here, you can actually register for the event, or you can watch the event, and you can watch the replay. You can do everything that you can do in the normal Crowdcast without ever leaving the Baremetrics website, without ever leaving the Baremetrics branding. So if that's something that Philip, that you'd want, and cool. So done answering. All right, Alan. Yeah, we'll put you on the beta list for these integrations. So you'll be hearing from us soon. Karine asked, can you use Wirecast? Yes. So for those who don't know what Wirecast is a desktop app that lets you stream right into YouTube, and then anyone who's watching a YouTube live event can see the stuff that you're sending into it. Because Wirecast works with YouTube, it's just like using any other import video setting. So if you wanted to do a Wirecast video, set it up with your YouTube event properly, and then click on this Import Hangout/YouTube button, and just paste in your YouTube link right here. So I'm going to pretend like there is a YouTube link that I want to. I'm going to pretend that this is a live YouTube link. So as soon as you press save, you'll see it imports it. Now this is actually just a ukulele video, but this is what your event would look like if it was coming in from a YouTube live event that is connected to a Wirecast video. We've seen people use this importing functionality in very creative ways. So whatever way that you want to mix and mash to get your event probably set up, you can do. At the end of the day, Crowdcast remains the same for your viewers. They actually don't really care how you're doing your streaming. That's just on your end. For them, it's the same experience regardless. So Philip asks, is the user interface available in French? So right now, it's all English. We do plan to do localizations in the future. Philip, if you'd be interested in helping us translate some of this stuff, let us know. There's a lot of people, for example, who want to help us get Crowdcast into Portuguese and I believe Turkish. Apparently the Brazilians really love Crowdcast. They've been using it a lot. Renee, I think that's how you pronounce it, asks, is it possible to deselect chat and Q&A sections so nothing can be written up to and during presentation unless admin wants it for a limited period of time? It would be a shame with links and nasty talk and chat and Q&A on the invite page like this before the present starts. Now, we actually, at the moment, don't let you control whether you block the chat or disable the chat or the Q&A, because that's actually one of the main benefits of Crowdcast, is that you get this interaction before the event starts, is that people can actually start asking a question and upvoting each other's questions before the event starts. But with the concern about people sort of bad-mouthing each other, you can always ban people. So if you notice that I'm gonna pretend like Connor's being bad, I can just click on this ban button here, and it asks me, are you sure you want to ban this user? And I say, okay. And at this point, Connor's actually banned. And if he tries to message the chat, it will just say that he's banned and he can't interact. But we can actually see the list of people who are banned and unban them so that he can now participate again. So that's the best way to do that. And to be honest, when you put people in an environment where they can actually see each other and interact with each other, they tend to not be dicks, because there's a sort of because their social identity is attached to it, and it's not anonymous. They generally don't, behave, in nasty talk. I don't think in the past year we've had to ban anyone. It's very, very, very rare. And if you do see someone sort of bad mouthing, if you just call them out, they generally stop. So I hope that answers your question. All right, Randy asks, can you tie in lead pages or click funnel pages? So technically, yes. Lead pages, just people who don't know, these are software to let you create registration pages that you can to fill out the form, and then when they're registered, you send them a link to some webinar somewhere. Because Crowdcast is a unique to that link, after they filled out your lead pages. Now, the downside of that is that when they go to the Crowdcast page, they're going to have to register again, and by register, that just means they just have to log in. So it's not really a big step. There's no forms to fill out or anything like that. It's the same process that you guys went through when you joined this Crowdcast event. Now, the other thing is Crowdcast actually does all these things for you. So soon we'll tell you things like how many people who show up on the registration modal actually converts over to register, and how many of those people who registered showed up live, and how many showed up late, and all that stuff. So we're trying to create one solution that handles all of the details for you, all of the ways to lower the barrier for your viewers to enter your event, so you don't have to think about that. But of course, if you still want to use lead pages, you could. All right, Alan asks, are there any plans to allow us to white label Crowdcasts? I'd like to change the CSS to match the site I'm embedding in. Planning to release white labeling on, I believe, our business tier. I have to double check on that. But that would essentially let you swap out the logo so that it says your company's name, change the color scheme a little bit, possibly. Still behave the same way as a Crowdcast. But yeah, we do plan to release that. So Alan, will it? Cool. So Lowell asks, what happens when the host chooses register? That is a good question. So I believe what you're saying is when you edit the event, you'll see there's a required registration option. You can say yes or no. And if you choose yes, when you join the event, just like Baremetrics has, you'll see it asks you to register here. It says the description of the event, the name, a thumbnail of, in this case, a recorded event because it already happened, and then the option to register here. Now, if you said no, then when they showed up on your Crowdcast page, they would actually just see the event live and see the in view-only mode. And as soon as they try to interact with the chat or try to interact with the Q&A, then they'll be asked to sign in and register. So that's the difference. Now, the downside, you'll see if we say no, is that you won't have any data on the viewers. And that basically means because they're not logged in, we have no idea who they are, we don't know their emails, we don't have their names. And so we generally are, and it kind of defeats the purpose of doing, in most scenarios, it defeats the purpose in doing a more private Crowdcast event if you're not going to require the registration. And so that's the main primary difference between the two. I think it's a good time to actually show you what those analytics are. So if you go to the Analytics tab, you'll see a map of where in the world people are tuning in from. So there's looks like America and Singapore. It looks like a couple of people from there. So yeah, it's a beautiful map. Just we just show you where are your viewers from, and this is this is live. So whenever you can check this before, during, or after the event. Oh. Excuse me. There's a couple of people from New York, a couple of people from Cambridge, Buffalo Grove, Telluride. Really, really cool. Beyond that, you get information around the gender of the audience. Now, this is determined based on what account they're logging in from. So if you're logging in from Facebook or Google+, then we can tell you the male and female information. But if you're not, like your email or we'll share with you. And then we tell you, who are the biggest influencers or tweeters in the room. It looks like Chris McCoy has got the most right here. He's got about 5,000 followers. Alan Bush, thank you for the sneeze. Plus, he's got a fair amount. But yeah, you can basically see who are the most influential people in the audience. If you want to call them out or ask them a question, possibly even invite them on screen if they'd be open to that. So that's just for you. And then you can also see who are the most active users in the audience. So you can see that Connor has commented the most in the chat so far, and then you can see a full list of who's being the most active in case you want to follow up with the most active ones, maybe give discounts. If you're doing a sales webinar, you might want to just message the most qualified leads and determine that qualification based on the number of comments that they've made. And then finally, we actually tell you who are the users with the most popular questions. In this case, Danielle, across all the questions she's asked, she's got 10 upvotes. And so this way you can see who's asking the most quality questions if you want to give some rewards for that as well. So that's what we have currently. Soon we're actually going to let you know, how many people are converting from registration page to registering, and how many people are going from have registered to showing up live versus have registered showing up late. Cool. Loyal wants to know a little bit more about, I think what you mean by that is when you can actually edit the event and charge for the event. So how it works is you have to click on Connect with Stripe, and that's gonna this is a one-time process. Once you've done that, you can actually just click set a price tag. So let me see if this account is connected. No, it's not. But yes, it's just you just set a price tag for how much you want to charge for the event, and as viewers show up for this registration page right here, it'll just say that there's a price attached to it, and when they click on pay and register, it opens up a Stripe modal to collect the payments, and as soon as your viewer uses their card or something like that, then they can register for the event, and once they've paid, they can always view that event. Cool. Alan asks, can I get updates when viewers ask questions after the Crowdcast is over? I haven't seen a way to make that work. That's a great question. We actually want to do that. It's in our roadmap, so we're developing a way to set that up so that not only would you get alerts when viewers ask questions after the fact, but potentially if people are commenting on questions during or after the fact, you might get alerts and are sort of mentioned in the chat using like an app mention. You can continue the conversation that way. The value of that event is extended much beyond the live event. So, way after it's over, people are still, having discussions around the topics that you talked about. So we want to encourage engagement and sharing during that period as well. So that just makes your event even more valuable. And because each of these questions are basically saved forever, you can always reference them by just click on the share button right here, and that will give you a unique URL right to that question. So when you click on it, it's going to actually, if you want to know this link and it's going to jump you right to that moment question. All right, so Ellen asks, where do the viewers come from? Are they only viewers who are active through Crowdcast IO or an embed, or do they include people watching on YouTube, G+, etc.? Are simply the viewers that you've marketed to. At the moment, we don't do anything to promote individual events. If it's a public event, there's a you'll see that there's actually find an example. Actually, if you just go to Crowdcast/Crowdcast, you'll see that there is a profile. Can find it there as well. And it's being a little bit slow because I'm live streaming, but you'll see on this website, because we're under the username of Crowdcast, you'll see all the demos you've done in the past right here listed. Now, the only other see it if you do embed your event, that's the other way that people can register and view your Crowdcast event. Now that's separate from the YouTube and Google Plus video. So right now, because we're using Google Hangouts, your video is being simultaneously streamed on YouTube and Google Plus. For the most part, like, there's not much engagement. I mean, people aren't really viewing it too much on there because it's just kind of pops up on people's feeds. And so if you, so it does get simultaneously posted there, but the Crowdcast event isn't there. So they'd just be watching the stream at that point. So if you might even want to mention at the beginning, like, hey, if you're on the YouTube page, come join the Crowdcast page at this URL. Cool. Yeah, so Lola asks, how to bring people into the film strip. Well, there's two things. So one is people who are speaking alongside with you. So other presenters is one type, and the event on screen. So I'll show you the first right now. So if you're in the Google Hangout, there's a button here that says invite people. So you can actually click it. It'll give you a unique URL, and you can actually invite people through here. But basically, this method you'd use if you want to invite other speakers. So before you start broadcasting, so before you click on start broadcasting, you would invite other speakers that you're having a hangout with, that are going to present with you, maybe slides or just a panel. You'd invite them right into this hangout and make sure the audio and video is all good, and then you'd hit start broadcast. Now, once you're broadcasting, now if I wanted to actually bring a viewer onto screen, you can actually click this button. This is invite user to hangout, and I'm going to click it, and you'll see it says, invite Lowell. Do I want to invite her onto the hangout? If I said yes, now you would get, Lowell, you would get a pop-up on your screen that says that I'm inviting you on screen. And if you say yes, it's going to bring you to the hangout that we're in right now to allow you to be a part of the event as well. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see, anything. Cool. Yeah, I hope I think the audio is gonna be much better. We'll try to use a better internet connection next time. All right. Has the Google Apps issue been resolved yet? I think what you mean by that is so right now, if you try to invite users onto the Hangout, it will only work through this function if your Hangout is being run through an @Gmail account. If you're doing a Google Hangout using your company account, so @companyname.com, we found that even though it should work according to everything that Google has said, it doesn't seem to actually work for some reason. So we haven't noticed that improving. So we just give you a little information here that says the viewers will be able to join if you're not logged into a Hangout through Google Apps account. So if that's a feature that you're interested in, just keep in mind that you need to be logged into the Hangout here through your Gmail account. Cool. Thank you, Lyle. Awesome. Well, there doesn't seem to be any other questions. Yeah, if anybody wants to join me on screen and just ask questions, one-to-one, let me know in the chat. I think I'm just gonna sort of wrap up on in terms of like covering some things that we didn't get to cover, like our conferencing features. So basically at this point, you've seen the Q&A, you've seen the polls, you've seen how the analytics works, you've seen that you can actually see all the viewers in the audience. You can share the event, you can embed the event, you can link to those questions, and you can use multiple video streaming services. But one of the main benefits of Crowdcast is if you are interested in doing more of a conference type event. So for example, I'm going to go to the other demo event that I created here, my awesome webinar. So here, right now this is a single webinar webcast. Now, if I wanted to do let's say an event with multiple sessions, where the first session we have like an intro talk, a keynote, the second session is like a panel, third session might be like a presentation. This is really useful if you're doing a more conference-like event. So Crowdcast actually is one of the first platforms on the internet that lets you do that. So if you click on more, you can actually click on the add new session option. So I'm going to add new session saying my second talk, and we'll say this one starts at 1 p.m. And then when you create that event, you'll notice that a couple things change. One, the UI is a little bit different. Now you have this section here that lets you navigate between the different sessions that you've gone on. So now I'm in the second session. Every session itself is actually treated like an individual Crowdcast event. So it has its own polls, it has its own chat, it has its own questions and answers, it has its own video stream. And you can actually click this button here that will move the audience to this session. So if you're doing a talk here in session 1, so I'm back in session 1, I'll even say, hey, this is session 1. After this talk is done, you can actually move to session 2. And I'll say, hey, this is session 2. And you can actually click this button here to bring the audience automatically to session 2. Now you see it just turned green. So anyone who would have been on session 1 has now been pulled. You're in a room at a conference, and suddenly the next talk is starting in the next room over, and the host presses a button that moves you and pulls you into that new room. Now, if I wanted to, I can still go back to the old room as a viewer. I can still navigate back and see what that talk was and just kind of review some things or replay the video. I can still do that, but while it's active, it's gonna by default navigate here now for all the new people. So this is the current active talk, and whenever you're over, you'll just say Mark's session is over. And now the viewers can navigate. When they join, they'll just end up in that first talk. In fact, I believe there is a conference happening right now. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so there is a conference happening right now, so you can kind of see what that looks like. You can see there is a live event right now. I believe this is live. Yeah, so I'm going to mute this. And you can see that there's, just like a normal Crowdcast event, you have the chat, you've got the Q&A, the polls, and you can actually navigate back and forth between the past talks and the future talks that's happening. So that's one of the cool, nifty features of Crowdcast. All right, looking forward to hosting first Crowdcast. Awesome. Yeah, Lowell, if you need any help, let us know. Cool. Awesome. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap up. I feel like we've covered all the main bases. Just switch off my screen sharing. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. We'll do these live demos about every week. So if you go to the homepage and click on get a live demo, you'll be able to register. And if you have more questions, you can ask it there. But if you have more urgent matters, just feel free to hover your mouse over to the left side of the menu and just click on help, and then it's gonna send it right to us as an email. And right now, I encourage you just to go to the top left corner, and you'll see the create new event button, and just create an event and do a test of Crowdcast to see what it feels like to do a Crowdcast event. And invite a couple of viewers so you can get a sense. If you've never used Google Hangouts before, it's gonna make you jump through a couple of steps to verify your account for the first time. But after that, it's pretty smooth sailing. So hope that answers all your questions, and thank you guys for showing up.